We're breaking down how unprecedented macroeconomic shifts, bold political moves, and historically low volatility could set the stage for Bitcoin to hit new heights. If you're curious about what makes this moment potentially transformative for crypto investors and how key factors are aligning to drive Bitcoin's next major leap, then stick around because we're driving straight into the data, the expert insights, and the real-world implications behind a 200K Bitcoin. Let's kick things off with a bold idea that's been making waves: Bitcoin as a generational opportunity. Now, you might be wondering, what does that even mean? Well, according to Bitwise CEO Hunter and the head of Alpha Strategies Jeff-Park, well, the world is teetering on the edge of what they call max chaos. And in the midst of this chaos, Bitcoin's priced for, or at least poised for, a price pump that could redefine the cryptocurrency market. Jeff-Park recently stated that the world is literally on the brink of max chaos. This isn't just hypothetical or a kind of hyperbole, it's actually based on observable macroeconomic trends. When traditional markets and governments are under extreme pressure, many investors turn to alternative assets, like Bitcoin, as a safe haven. Now, what makes Bitcoin stand out here is the notion that it isn't a typical market cycle. Instead, it's a once-in-a-generation chance for Bitcoin to not only secure its position in the mainstream financial system, but to also make significant leaps in adoption and value. Now, why are these global signals so important? Well, with the potential overhaul of global trade by the Trump administration and central banks possibly flushing markets with cash, well, Bitcoin's appeal as a decentralized asset is more pronounced than ever. These macro signals suggest that while traditional assets might falter under economic stress, Bitcoin's limited supply and decentralized nature offers a compelling alternative. So, what do you think about Bitcoin's potential as a safe haven in turbulent times? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below, but be aware of the scammers that are operating down there. Or join us in our free Discord and let's continue the conversation down there. Looking back at previous financial crises, well, during the 2008 economic downturn, many alternative assets, including gold, saw increased demand as investors sought to diversify. Bitcoin, often referred to as digital gold, is following a similar narrative in today's volatile economic climate. So, beyond Bitwise, several market analysts have pointed out that the unique characteristics of Bitcoin make it an ideal candidate for significant price movement during periods of high economic uncertainty. So, as central banks and political powers enact policies that might destabilize traditional markets, Bitcoin emerges as a beacon of hope, a generational opportunity to secure financial stability in a seemingly chaotic world. Now that we've explored the macro view, let's zoom in on some of the political and economic factors that are currently shaking up the crypto landscape. This is where things get really interesting and, well, a little bit controversial. On February 12th, a bold House Republican budget plan was proposed to raise the debt limit by a whopping $4 trillion. The goal? To ramp up government spending and stimulate the economic growth. But here's the twist. Such massive spending could lead to significant market distortions and ultimately what Jeff-Park describes as a gold run trail risk. So, in a move that has many experts watching closely, former President Donald Trump, it's actually President Donald Trump, has escalated threats of tariffs, right? And we've spoken about these recently in our AMA sessions. This isn't just a trade issue. It has global implications, right? As nations start to pull back from global trade networks, well, the traditional financial system faces, increased strain, making decentralized assets like Bitcoin even more attractive. Another point of contention is the GOPs, right? The proposal of tax cuts that could reach up to $4.5 trillion. Now, while these cuts might stimulate short-term growth, they also carry the risk of overheating the markets. Investors are already bracing for what Jeff Park termed max retaliation in the markets, a scenario where these policies lead to instability and further economic disruption. Now, this is another strategy on the horizon. Yield curve control involves central banks targeting long-term interest rates to encourage borrowing and investment. While this can be a powerful tool to jumpstart economic activity, it also introduces uncertainties into the market. And when uncertainties are around, well, investors look for alternatives, and Bitcoin fits the bill perfectly. Now, Federal Reserve's Chair Jerome Powell recently stated that the US economy is remaining strong and that there's no rush to adjust rates further. Now, this comment from Powell basically contrasts sharply with the more aggressive policies being hinted at by some political factions. Now, the resulting mixed signals create a perfect storm for Bitcoin enthusiasts. Why, I hear you ask? Well, because when traditional economic policies send mixed messages, decentralized cryptocurrencies often emerge as more stable, attractive options for both seasoned investors and newcomers. So, do you think aggressive fiscal policies will accelerate Bitcoin's mainstream adoption? You can let me know in the comments down below or join us in our free Discord server to continue the conversations down there. Now, while the political maneuvers are aimed at boosting the economy, they inadvertently create an environment of uncertainty. Investors are caught between the promises of stimulus and the risks of fiscal mismanagement. This tension is exactly what drives many to look at Bitcoin, not just as an investment, but as a hedge against the systemic risk. Now, historically, similar fiscal maneuvers have led to increased investment in alternative assets. With Bitcoin's current price range and the improving volatility metrics, well, many see this as a kind of tipping point, if you will. In essence, the interplay between the high-level political decisions and the economic policy is shaping a landscape where Bitcoin could very well be the next big safe haven. The current economic, or at least environment, I guess, is actually a cocktail of aggressive fiscal policies, political uncertainties, and a global trend towards deglobalization, all of which are pushing investors to reevaluate their portfolios. All right, so let's drill down to the nuts and the bolts then, right? Bitcoin's current market behavior, its volatility index, and what these numbers mean for you as an investor. As of now, Bitcoin is trading at around $96,000, just down a little bit over the past 24 hours or so. Although it's currently within a range of $90,000 to $100,000 for most of the year, it once peaked at $109,000 during Trump's inauguration. This historical context is crucial because it shows that Bitcoin has experienced wide swings before, and many believe a similar, if not larger, move is on the horizon. Now, one of the key stats that we're looking at is basically Bitcoin's implied volatility, IV percentile. Now, currently, it's sitting at a notable low of 12.3. This is with its kind of volatility index at 50.9, down from its yearly high of 71.28. To break this down, a low IV percentile suggests that Bitcoin's volatility is below its historical norm, which many analysts interpret as a signal of a price movement, potentially a major one that is looming. Now, when volatility is low, it often indicates that the market is in a state of relative calm. But as we know, calm before the storm is a common occurrence in the crypto world. Low volatility can signal that a significant price move is brewing, this time possibly in the form of a Bitcoin pump. Now, Bitwise's Jeff Park highlighted that Bitcoin's low implied volatility percentile is a major indicator of the opportunity ahead. Right? Simply put, when volatility is low relative to historical standards and subsequent surge can result in, well, sharp, sustained gains. Now, the crypto fear and greed index is something else that we need to discuss. Currently, the index is at a neutral 51 out of 100. This is interesting because it shows that the market isn't in a state of panic, nor is it at an overly optimistic level either. Just last week, we saw a shift from fear to a more neutral stance, an important signal that investors are cautiously optimistic. At times of market uncertainty, emotions run high. The neutral kind of market sentiment coupled with low volatility suggests that investors might soon pivot towards Bitcoin as a reliable alternative asset, especially if traditional markets falter. So, have you noticed the low volatility in Bitcoin lately? What's your take on these trends? And are you preparing for a major swing? Let me know in the comments or down in the Discord. Now, think about gold during economic uncertainties. Right? Many investors flock to gold when traditional markets show sign of stress. Bitcoin, often dubbed as digital gold, is following a similar pattern. Its fixed supply, decentralized nature makes it an attractive asset when governments and central banks implement drastic measures. Now, Bitwise's CEO, Hunter, recently remarked that people are wildly underestimating the massive leaps Bitcoin is going to take into the mainstream this year. This optimism isn't unfounded. With current market conditions, many experts believe that we're on the verge of witnessing significant mainstream adoption of Bitcoin, pushing its price higher as institutional investors start to take notice. Now, remember, volatility isn't necessarily a sign of risk. It can be a signal of opportunity. For many, the current state of Bitcoin's market is a green light to prepare for a potentially massive upward move. These developments paint a picture of a crypto market at a crossroads. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a newcomer to the world of cryptocurrency, it's clear that the evolving economic landscape is currently creating both challenges and opportunities. Now, I believe that we're on the cusp of something big in the crypto space, with central banks and political leaders taking bold, sometimes risky actions. Bitcoin's role as a safe haven asset is becoming more pronounced. The potential for a major pump is real, and if you're thinking about entering or expanding your crypto portfolio, now might be the time to keep a close eye on these trends. Now, if you found this update useful and informative, hit that like button. The more likes that we get, the further that the video will be pushed on the YouTube side. And of course, subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest news and technical analysis when it comes to everything crypto. And if you haven't done so already, guys, you might want to check out why holding 1000 XRP might be one of the best decisions that you make. You can check it out with this video right here.